Cruise news time, and well, we got some stuff popping off. Carnival announcing that you can finally book a popular onboard activity pre-cruise. Also, we have a change in what is known as the world's busiest cruise port. And is Princess copying Royal Caribbean International? Is it a case of the copycat? Maybe. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for your face. That's right. It's for your face on Tuesday, December the 12th, 2023. And our first cruise news story deals with Carnival Cruise Line. A big announcement coming out today that the whole fleet is almost ready to allow their passengers to book the Behind the Fun tour pre-cruise. You may not know what I'm talking about, but essentially there's this really great onboard activity where a small group of people are able to go behind the scenes of a Carnival cruise ship. And normally the only way that you can be a part of that is as soon as you get on your cruise ship, you have to go and get on the list. You have to book it. Well, they have been testing out on the Carnival Horizon a pre-booking process, a pre-cruise booking process, where before your cruise, you can go into your cruise manager, you can go to the excursions, and you can book the Behind the Fun tour. This is a big deal. They're going to roll it out to all 26 ships in their fleet, save one. You're not going to be able to do this on the Carnival Jubilee. You're not even going to be able to go on this tour on the Carnival Jubilee in the beginning. Have you ever been on one of these Behind the Fun tours? Did you love it? Leave a comment below. Now, before we get into cruise news story number 2, I would like to take a moment and share with you the sponsor of today's show. Hello, friends. Today's episode is sponsored by Babbel. I could probably try that in Spanish. Hola, amigos. El programa de hoy está patrocinado por Babbel. I think I'm slowly becoming bilingual. Babbel is one of the top language learning apps in the world, using real-world conversations to help you learn a new language in just 3 weeks. Now, normally I'm telling you to try Babbel out to enhance your travels, but it's the holiday season, and let's be honest, many of us are just stuck at home, going to office parties, going to grandma's house. So how about this? Why not impress your in-laws or your co-workers by showing off some of your new language skills? I really like the app because it teaches you in a lot of ways. Right now, I'm working through this build the word part of the app. And so I'm trying to build the word thank you. And it's simple. It gives you just the two parts of gracias. So I'm going to say gracias.
Gracias.
Gracias. I'm telling you, family's going to be amazed when you hit them with the dame un poco de pastel de frutas ahora. Give me some fruitcake now. You guys already know it. I'm a big fan of Babbel. I enjoy all the different learning options the app provides. Plus, they got that sweet 20-day money-back guarantee, so you can try the app risk-free. And as usual, they have a great offer for you, the Loca fam. You can click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen here and get 60% off your Babbel subscription. Thanks, Babbel, for sponsoring today's episode. Cruise news story number 2. We have been talking recently about the world's busiest cruise port, and in those stories, I've been talking about Port Canaveral over there on the west coast of Florida. They've just recently, they're like the new kids on the block when it comes to being the world's busiest cruise port. Sometime last year, they were able to amass more passengers than the Port of Miami, and so it snatched the moniker of world's busiest cruise port from the Port of Miami. And you know who didn't like that? Port of Miami. They've built some new terminals, they've taken on some new cruise ships, and guess what? They done took their title back. Miami itself, the city of Miami, the mayor of Miami, Port Miami, everybody's cawing over there because of their numbers. The over 7 million passengers in Port Miami 2023. And you know what makes them the world's busiest cruise port, which is, well, I guess it's not that tough for commenters like me, but now I'm going to have to do the flip-flop in my head. Is the world's busiest cruise port Port Canaveral? Is the world's busiest cruise port? Right now, it is Port Miami. This whole conversation about these two ports kind of throws me into a whole rivalry thing. It's like the Celtics versus the Lakers, and you got the Cowboys versus the Steelers, and you got Fred versus Barney, and Laverne versus Shirley, and the Cobra versus G.I. Joe. I guess to contextualize it to this show, how about the rivalry between Carnival and Royal? Who's got the better cruise passengers out there? Who's more classy, Carnival cruise passengers or Royal cruise passengers? Did I just poke a few bears? I didn't mean to. On a side note, for whatever reason, my social media algorithms have been filled with bears and people getting stuck in caves. And both of them are giving me the creeps. But I did glean some great information last night. First, if you encounter a brown bear, I guess the technique is to lay flat on the ground, spread your legs out, cover the back of your head with your hands, the back of your neck, and somewhat play dead. And hopefully the brown bear will leave you alone. Contrarily, you don't want to do that at all if you encounter a black bear. You don't want to turn your back on a black bear. You don't want to play dead. You just want to slowly remove yourself from the situation. Don't run. But if you do get in an encounter with a black bear, they say you want to make a lot of noise and be as big as possible. And if the bear charges you, you want to strike it, hit it, let it know that you are aggressive, and maybe you'll scare off the black bear, which I don't think that's a fight I want to be in. And then finally, if you happen to be close enough to encounter a polar bear, well, that's probably going to be your last encounter. That's what I'm understanding. Unless maybe you got a red scarf and a Coke. Maybe if you give could that be considered false? If you get ate up by a polar bear after you've given it a red scarf and a Coca-Cola, is that false advertising? Look, I just got to say this. I know a lot about a lot of things, but I am not a bear expert. And so please don't take my bear advice into the wild. It's just something that I heard about. I feel like the best way to avoid this is not to go outside. I was so scared watching these TikTok videos, I'm not even going to be watching Yogi Bear cartoons. And then a whole nother set of videos that made me want to never watch another video are these people that are climbing through tight caves. I don't know how any of these people are still alive to post these videos, but I got such a level of claustrophobia watching this. Okay, back to the cruise news. Cruise news story number 3, and I'll just combine a few of these. There's a few cruise ships out there that have had altered schedules. First, let's talk about the Carnival Venezia up there in New York. It was supposed to leave New York on Sunday. They were able to embark their passengers, but bad weather delayed them from leaving New York and making their way south. Instead, they had to leave on Monday. That ship is now underway after a 1-day delay. But that's a tough one because I assume if you are stuck there in New York, that means the casino's not going to open. I don't think the drink package works kind of the way you'd want it to in New York. So I haven't heard if there was any kind of anything done. Of course, it's not the cruise line's fault that the weather came in, but that's probably a rough way to start your cruise. And I am getting word from Loca fam member Cecilia, who is on the Carnival Breeze, that their cruise port stop in Progresso has been called off today because of bad weather. Just went through the same thing last week, was supposed to go to Grand Cayman, but was unable to do that because of bad weather. It's part of that cruise life, baby. But yeah, we have a couple cruise ships out there being altered in their itinerary. Now, let's make our way to the main story today. Is Princess copying Royal Caribbean? I want to tell you all about that. Before I do it, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. The show did not quite come out at 9:15 today. I kind of got a little weird nesting thing going on last night, and I moved every piece of furniture in the studio. So I don't know. I get bored. I get tired of things looking like other things sometimes. And so I've made a change. It's a little more minimal. I don't think this is the final iteration, but I thought, let's go minimal. How about that? And eventually I had to stop at some point and make the show. And that's why you have the show late today, but a show nonetheless. Now, we just talked about how the world's not next biggest cruise ship, but the one after the world's next biggest cruise ship, the next one will be Icon of the Seas, and then the following one will be the Star of the Seas, the second Icon class cruise ship. We talked about that recently. Well, there was a big event over there in Monfalcone, Italy, at the Fincantieri shipyard. I think it's either today or yesterday, where Princess has laid the keel. They have laid the keel on their second Sphere class cruise ship Of course, the first one will be the Sun Princess. And guess what name they gave it? Star Princess. Now, I'm not saying the princess copied Royal or Royal copied Princess, but they both have the name Star of their next ship. So what reminds me of that time when Vanilla Ice got questioned about his song Ice Ice Baby, whether the beat in that song was actually just a ripoff of Queen/David Bowie's song Pressure. And I tell you what, Rob Van Winkle of Vanilla Ice, his answer was classic. He said, no, it's completely different. The David Bowie Queen goes ding, 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 but mine goes ding, 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 ding. It's different. So I'm assuming the two stars are different. Yeah, what's the deal there? Like, it's got to be hard to name cruise ships. How about that? That's the bonus points today. If you could name a cruise ship anything, what would you name it? Leave a comment below. Another shout out to Babbel for sponsoring the show today. A big thanks to you for watching it. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. This is Tony for Lido, Loca. Until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye. Cruise news, cruise news, cruise news. It's over.